Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple P, the PatsPro podcast. I'm your host, the aforementioned PatsPro. On today's pod, we'll be reacting to the Patriots news of the week and giving some takes on what I'm looking for going forward for this team. Before we get to that, I'm going to go ahead and go for the big ask. I'm going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. It helps spread the good word. All right, let's get down to business. To defeat the Hunts. We're making Mulan puns here, boys. You're welcome. We're a cultured show. Not going to bury the lead here. Let's get to the massive elephant in the room. Drake May threw 4 interceptions. It's all burning down. All right, let's relax. Like in real life, there's context. A tip pass, a potential miscommunication, an all-pro corner did all-pro corner things, and an outright whiff. To me, Drake is on the hook for 2 of those. Now, you could say, well, PatsPro. Shouldn't he be on the hook for all 4 of them? To which I would say, on the stat sheet, yes. But we like to look at things here in context. Unlike some shows on a certain radio platform from 2 to 6, we like to take context into fact. Into fact, that doesn't make sense. We like to take context as it is, which is it's the second OTA. It is a new offense. It is a second-year quarterback learning his second offense in 2 years. And once again, it's a second OTA. We don't need to freak out here. Now, after those 4 interceptions, there was some good. 7 for 9, even tested Christian Gonzalez with Javon Baker. Deep pass. Javon, fought for it, played some defense, and caught the ball. Now, I will say, the old adage is iron sharpens iron. I think that could be very true here, given how good Christian Gonzalez and the secondary is going to be. Having said that, if this becomes a consistent take, I mean, we all know Drake May had an interception problem last year. A lot of them were pretty stupid. I'm not going to put all of those interceptions on him. Like with today, a lot of context needs to come with those interceptions. But if this happens to become a consistent theme, I'm going to start losing my mind. But we're not there yet. It's May. It was the first OTA open to the media. He doesn't have his full complement of receivers. Doesn't have... It's not live. They're in shorts and t-shirts. So, having said that, some other Patriots news this week is that Bill Belichick has essentially become what's the good way to put this? Essentially become what we used to make fun of. Unfocused, constant distractions, not about football. This is just going to be a little aside on the news. Bill is doing things that he used to say other teams do that made them losers. It is the biggest point. And it almost makes me feel like towards the end of his career as head coach of the Patriots, he wasn't locked in. He didn't want to be there, or maybe he did want to be there, but he only wanted to do things his way, not take shit from anyone, not listen to anyone else, and that was his prerogative. Guy, won 6 Super Bowls. I mean, he had the greatest quarterback of all time alongside him, but he also had a hand in building those teams and coaching those teams. So just to wrap up this little thought experiment, it just feels like it feels like our hero is going down, if that makes sense. He's not what he once was. He'll never be what he once was. And now we're seeing all the flaws in broad daylight. All right. That was kind of really the only news that I found interesting regarding the Patriots. I would like to take a look at going forward. That didn't make sense. I want to take a look at what I'm looking for going forward. So it's player-based, and there's 3 players on that list. First of them being, everyone knows I'm a big fan of this guy, was extremely excited when they drafted him, and so far he's flashing a little bit in the one camp practice we saw, and that's Kyle Williams. I truly think Kyle Williams is going to be a breakout player in his rookie year for this team, regardless of the fact that the talent in the wide receiver room is, for the most part subpar. Um, he's got all the tools to be successful. On top of, he has a receiver to emulate in Stephon Diggs, who can help give him the tips and tricks. As we know, Stephon Diggs has been lauded for in his time in Texas with the Texans. Um, he wants to help give his knowledge. It is, by all reports, is what he wants to do. So I truly think Kyle Williams will be a benefit to this team, will be a breakout star for this team, and will have immediate success year one. And I'm really excited to keep reading about these training camps, maybe go to a training camp myself, but keep reading about these training camps, keep hearing Kyle Williams' name or reading Kyle Williams' name. And I truly believe, again, he's going to be a big star for this team. Another rookie here, and these are all rookies that I want to talk about. I mean, yeah, we could talk about, Milton Williams. We can talk about Robert Spillane, but I want to focus on the newest additions to the team, the unknown quantities that I think are really going to propel this team forward in the future. And that would be rookie Craig Woodson, safety. Made a nice diving interception on Drake May today, one of his four, and not today, but one of his four interceptions, and he has stood out in camp. I think it was Phil Perry who reported that his name just keeps coming up over and over again uh, from people who are, saying, hey, Craig Woodson, he just gets it. He's a smart guy. Cal has been a low-key DB factory over the last few years, and they just really like what he brings to the table. And gosh, we've been in need of that type of safety, that kind of center fielder, as Alex Barth likes to talk about. Center fielder of the defense can kind of see everything. He uses his smarts and wits to figure out where the defense is going to be, or where the defense needs to be, where the offense is going to be. Um, I think he makes a big impact on this team immediately, and I think he even moves some veterans off their spot, or maybe get some veterans to play better. Because quite frankly, the safety room has been lacking, especially with the contracts that they've put out in recent years. And then the third one, I'm sure everyone knows where I'm going with this. It's Will Campbell. He's the left tackle of the future. I don't care what anyone says about it. The guy's a left tackle. Arm length be damned. He, by reports, is a quick mover. He's strong. The one thing that I really like about Will Campbell in this offense is his ability to pull. Josh McDaniels does love to pull the tackles on a lot of his concepts, and the way Will Campbell moves is laterally is special. I think that, the pass protection aside, which I think he'll be solid on, the run protection I think is really where he's really going to shine, and is also where I think the Patriots are going to look to focus all their efforts, which is the run game. People will say, well, they tried to, focus their efforts in the run game last year. They were working off of in my opinion, the West Coast scheme is inferior in a lot of ways to something like a Earhart Perkins alternative like McDaniels runs. I don't think, number one, that they had the exact talent they need to run that scheme effectively, but number two, given the matchups they faced, a lot of heavy defensive lines, I just don't think that the wide zone concepts that they tried out early in the year were the thing that was going to benefit them and help them establish the run game. I get it. You use that wide zone stuff, that way you can get the play action going, blah, 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 blah. What I think this year, I think they're going to take the Eagles' lead on it, and by saying that, I mean it's going to be a lot of, pulling of your tackles. It's going to be a lot of, aggressive downfield blocking, with your running back. Another guy to watch is Travion Henderson in this. I truly think that he's got a lot of 3-down upside, even though that's kind of what got him in trouble in college. But It, having said all of this, overarching thought, Will Campbell's ability to participate in that style of offense where it's a run first, where you're expected to, block, get off your guy, get out in space, and block for your running back. I think that's something Will Campbell exceeds at. Um, it's going to be a relatively short pod, folks. It's really we're kind of in the Patriots dead zone, and there's not much to talk about. But we do have some listener questions. So some listener questions here. Going to go over them. We've got 3 of them today, and they are as follows. At Brambray, otherwise known as 76 Forever Free on X, asks if Eftim Chisholm continues to impress throughout training camp, do you think there's a real possibility they would trade Pop Douglas? Uh, I'm going to go ahead and say no. And the reason I say that is Pop, while yes, Pop, from a size perspective, I'm purely saying height, profiles as a slot wide receiver, and I think that's where he's going to play a lot of his snaps. Um, he's more of a Z in this offense. He's speedy, he's quick. He can play that Z role a lot better than slot role. I think Efton Chisholm, is maybe a practice squad guy who they have to refine, but I don't think they get rid of him, if that makes sense. I think that they want to develop him, let him take his time, figure out what his game is, because on film the guy just gets open. He's not straight line fast, but laterally he's very, very quick. He's a typical white guy wide receiver. He's quicker than fast. He gets open laterally, knows how to, get his defender off their spot. But it's just the truth. It's how he plays. It's who he is. So that's a long way of answering of no, I don't think Pop Douglas gets traded. I think if you're looking for a trade candidate, it's either Kendrick Bourne or Kayshon Boutte. Specifically Kayshon Boutte, I just think that he's a wide receiver 2/3/4 on a lot of teams, probably leaning towards that 3/4, and he could be a good depth piece for a team that just wants to, maybe someone goes down in camp or, excuse me, at the beginning of the season. He is a guy who I think is expendable. And having said that, there's going to be room for pretty much all these guys. If Stefon Diggs does end up being available week 1, I'm expecting him to start the year on PUP. But if he is available week 1, I'd look for more of a Kendrick Bourne or a Kayshon Boutte trade than a Pop Douglas trade. At Pat's Planet on X asks, how many sacks do you think this defense will have this season with all the improved pass rushers? Last season, we finished with 28, the fewest in the league. Can we get the league average? What's the league average nowadays? 40 or 45? Could we get to 45? 50? Is 50 sacks too much to ask with an offensive line of Milton Williams and a healthy Christian Barmore, with Keon White hopefully taking another leap in year 3, with guys like Harold Landry and Robert Spillane? Is that too much to ask? I don't think so. I league average. That's I think where we need to get to. I'm going to say we're going to go ahead and be league average at 42.5 sacks. That puts us like right dead on league average, I think, if I'm remembering that right. That'll probably put us in like the 14 or 15 range in terms of teams sack totals. That's where I'd like to be. I think that's a reasonable goal. I don't think that's lofty at all. I think league average is where we're going to get. The Boston Sharp, otherwise known as Colby Covers, asks, what running backs will be on the roster week 1? What wide receivers make the 53-man? When do we start to worry that Terrell Williams isn't a person yet? I'm going to start with that last one. Terrell Williams, as we know, going through a medical situation. Wish the best for him. I just feel like I get it's in jest, but I really hope the guy gets better and gets back, because I feel like the players love him, or his players in the past have loved him a lot. And I really think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm going to go in reverse order here. What wide receivers make the 53? Kind of talked about this in my first question. I would say it's easily Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins, Pop Douglas, Kyle Williams, and Kendrick Bourne and Kayshon Boutte. Maybe sub out Kayshon Boutte for Jalen Polk. I think the rest of those guys, Javon Baker, Efton Chisholm, those guys I think are practice squad guys, to be quite honest. Unless, they have a big camp. I think Polk beats out Boutte just because their skill sets are similar. Boutte, I think, is more explosive off the line and can get open down the field, but Polk's second round pick last year. I'm not sure that they're going to be willing to just let him go off of 1 year of bad production. So that's my take on it. Now, running backs is actually interesting to me. I don't know if Antonio Gibson is on this team come September, and whether that's trade or cut. I know by all reports, and this is as of right now, by all reports, Ramondre Stevenson is going to be the lead back. Travion Henderson, I think, might overtake Stevenson for the lead back role by season's end. But then you have Antonio Gibson, and I mean, his skill set is most similar to Travion Henderson. He's more of a the fast running back who can catch out of the backfield, line up on the line, run some routes. Travion Henderson can do all of that, and he's also your second round pick. So I see Antonio Gibson kind of being a cut candidate, to be honest. Maybe he gets traded, but I don't really see anyone with an overarching need for him. So I'd say Antonio Gibson is not on the roster week 1. I think you have Ramondre, Travion Henderson, the guy that they just picked up from the Bengals, Travion, I forget his last name, and I can't believe I'm forgetting this guy's name. The bull wrestling feller who they picked up kind of looks like Rex Burkhead. I think they carry 4 running backs, and I think that's your room. I don't think Antonio Gibson makes it onto this team due to the plurality of his skill set. I don't see it happening. He's easy enough to cut, and that's that. Now, I know we're only at about 18 minutes here. Again, it's going to be a short podcast today, folks. Just kind of want to get out there and, give some takes here. So, overarching wrap up is that Drake May's going to be just fine, in my opinion. If you need some reassurance, check out at Scouted NFL or at Scout D on Twitter. Dan does a great job in explaining why he thinks Drake May is going to be just fine, going to be, one of the top quarterbacks in the league in the next few years. Even has a bet going with Kurt Benkert, basic stats and everything. If Drake goes over a certain amount, then things happen. Check it out on Twitter. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a good bet. Money's going to charity. We always like to see that. But that's really all I have here for you today. So once again, like, comment, and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. We really appreciate the interaction, really appreciate the feedback. Thank you to everyone who asked a question. Really helps during the dark times, as I like to call them. But for the PatsPro podcast, I am PatsPro. I will talk to you soon, and I hope you have a good day. See you then.